10.65 versus 10.65. Two American sprinters with the same personal best, the same coaching tree, and totally different storms overhead. On Friday, the 22nd of August in Brussels, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, fresh off a US title in 10.65 seconds, the fastest time in the world this year, meets Sha'Carri Richardson, the reigning world champion, in a one-race referendum on who carries America's crown into Tokyo next month. Brussels isn't a hype stop. It's the last checkpoint before the Diamond League final in Zurich and then the World Championships in Tokyo, which run from the 13th to the 21st of September. It's where rhythm gets fixed, start lines get settled, and reputations get priced. Both women are slated for this stage. Jefferson-Wooden has already been announced by the meet, and the Diamond League itself has flagged Richardson for a last bid run in the women's 100 meters. That means one night, one clean start, and zero places to hide. Here's the tension you won't get from a generic preview. They come out of the same system. Dennis Mitchell's Star Athletics built both of these athletes. Similar acceleration templates, similar transition drills, completely different personalities under pressure. Jefferson-Wooden arrives with form and momentum. Richardson arrives with aura and a rulebook in the rear view. If it were just about top speed, you'd call it a coin flip. But it isn't just about top speed. Because there's a second clock running. Richardson was arrested on a domestic violence charge at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport at the start of the month. She was detained and released the next day. Her boyfriend, Christian Coleman, publicly defended her. On paper, she still holds a guaranteed lane at Worlds as the defending 100-meter champion. In practice, the U.S. Center for Safe Sport and USATF can impose temporary measures while a case is reviewed. Administrative actions that, if triggered, can scratch an athlete from competition with a phone call. No drama here, just how the system works. For Brussels, that's the thin edge between a blockbuster showdown and a headline that reads, "Withdrawn." So the night sets up like this: the US champion who looks unstoppable versus the world champion who still bends the room when she walks in. Both at 10.65 seconds. Both chasing Zurich, both aimed at Tokyo. If they settle in the blocks, we find out whether ruthless starts beat rolling top speed on a cool European evening. If the rulebook intervenes, we learn something else. That in modern sprinting, the stopwatch isn't the only judge that matters. Same coach, same drills, totally different ways of turning them into speed. Dennis Mitchell's Star Athletics built both women for a violent first 30 meters and a smooth rise into upright sprinting. That's the template. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden runs it like a metronome. Her best races this summer show a ruthless first 3 steps, a compact drive phase, and a no-drama transition that spits her onto top speed by 40 to 50 meters. When she looks right, the field looks rattled, because it is. Every fraction she steals early becomes compound interest over the next 50 meters. That is how you turn 10.65 seconds in Eugene from a hot day into a statement that travels. Sha'Carri Richardson works the same template, but with a longer, taller top-end window. Her danger zone is 50 to 80 meters. If posture stacks, hips stay high, and cadence doesn't rush, she rolls like a freight train. Less explosive off the pad than Jefferson-Wooden. More lethal once momentum bites. That is the version that won Budapest. The version that runs down equal or faster starters when she is calm. The catch is calm. Pressure leaks form. Tiny leaks matter at 10 meters per second. Now, layer in environment. Brussels evenings tend to be cool and still. On nights like that, the track rewards clean mechanics and a relaxed top end. Panic costs twice. If the air ends up warmer with a slight tailwind, the payoff tilts back toward the woman who stamps the drive phase and gets to velocity first. Translation: conditions won't decide the race, but they will amplify whichever woman executes her identity better. The psychology is just as real. Jefferson-Wooden arrives with form. Recent wins, clean headlines, a locker room that sees her as the one who shows up and handles business. Richardson arrives with aura, reigning world champion, the name casual fans know, and a week-to-week microscope few athletes survive. Form versus aura is not hype, it is a call room reality. Jefferson-Wooden needs only to be herself for 10 seconds. Richardson needs to be herself and quiet the noise in her head for the same 10 seconds. One more wrinkle most previews skip. The shared coaching tree doesn't just make them similar, it makes them predictable to each other. They know the cues, they have seen the drills. If Jefferson-Wooden hears a clipped first step to her right, she knows Richardson is on time. If Richardson senses daylight by 60 meters, she knows Jefferson-Wooden nailed the drive and the lean is coming. The duel is not just speed against speed, It is a recognition against recognition, two athletes reading the same book at full sprint and trying to turn the last page first. Here's why Brussels isn't just another payday. It's the gate to Zurich, and Zurich is the dress rehearsal that decides who walks into Tokyo wearing the crown. Diamond League math first, in plain English. The 100 meters pays points, 8 for first, 7 for second, 6 for third, and down to 1 point for eighth. Only the top 8 in the sprint qualify for the Zurich final. Brussels is the last regular season stop, and one finished place can flip an athlete from in to out. That's why both names are on this start list. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden can slam the door with a top 3. Sha'Carri Richardson needs a big score to haul herself over the cut line and into the two-day finale on the 27th and 28th of August. Why Zurich matters: lane draws, TV rhythm, and confidence. Zurich puts you under championship lights without championship chaos. The call room feels like worlds. The reaction time data is real, and the pacing mistakes you make there, you do not make a fortnight later. For Jefferson-Wooden, winning Brussels and then making noise in Zurich does something powerful. It proves that 10.65 seconds travels. It turns a US time into a world standard. It also forces broadcasters to say her name first in Tokyo previews, which matters more than anyone admits. For Richardson, Zurich is where the noise gets muted or magnified. Brussels is the bridge. Zurich is the proof. She hasn't stacked race reps this summer. She hasn't shown the 50 to 80 meter glide that made Budapest look easy. A big night in Brussels earns the Zurich ticket, and Zurich is the only place left to rehearse the relaxation she needs to turn even starts into late separations. Skip that step, and she walks into Tokyo raw. Dangerous, but unpredictable. There's politics under the surface too. Same coaching tree, same practice track, different momentum. A Jefferson-Wooden win abroad changes how relay selectors talk in back rooms. A Richardson surge changes how sponsors stage their shoots and who opens the NBC preview. Prize money is nice. Perception is leverage. And Brussels feeds perception. So circle 3 levers as you watch. Points: who gets the Zurich slot? Posture: who looks loose at 60 meters? And posture under pressure: who can copy that loose look again in Zurich? If Jefferson-Wooden stacks points and posture, she becomes the safe bet for Tokyo. If Richardson nails posture under pressure, Zurich turns into her comeback runway, and the World Championships get the headliner they've been waiting to sell. Here's how Brussels actually plays out when the gun goes. Scenario A is gate shot Jefferson-Wooden. She nails the first 3 steps, gets her shin angles stacked, and punches a clean drive for 30 meters. By 40 to 50 meters, she's already at top speed. Chin still, hands quiet, no wasted motion. If there's daylight at 60, it grows to a full stride by 80. That's the version that turned 10.65 in Eugene into a world lead. And on a cool European night, it travels. If she wins this way, the story leaving Brussels is simple. The US champion's start is a weapon nobody else can live with, and Zurich becomes a rehearsal, not a rescue. Scenario B is Surge Richardson. The first 20 meters are tidy, not spectacular. Then her body stacks, hips high, head still, frequency smooth, and the 50 to 80 meter window opens like it did in Budapest. When she's right, she doesn't look faster, she looks easier. That's how she reels in equal starters without looking like she's pressing. If that version shows up, she wins in the lean and walks out with the 2 things she needs most: Diamond League points for Zurich and a quiet mind for Tokyo. Scenario C is the drag race. Both women leave well, neither blinks, and the separation never widens past a forearm. This is where micro-tension decides everything. The athlete who relaxes in the last 7 strides, jaw loose, shoulders quiet, knee lift unchanged, gets it by 1 or 2 hundredths. If this is the film we watch, Brussels sets up a rubber match in Zurich, and Tokyo turns into the coin flip every broadcaster wants. There is a 4th path, the one nobody likes to say out loud, but everyone understands: the administrative scratch. If interim measures arrive after the arraignment, USATF or SafeSport putting a temporary hold in place, organizers pull the name and the blocks never get set. No headline fonts, no wind readings, just a withdrawn line on a start list. If that happens, the duel waits for Zurich or vanishes until Worlds, and Jefferson-Wooden spends her night proving form against the field instead of aura against aura. However it breaks, Brussels is a tell. If Jefferson-Wooden stamps the drive and holds posture, she becomes the sensible pick for Tokyo. If Richardson finds that 50 to 80 glide and wins late, the sport gets its headliner back at exactly the right time. And if they go shoulder to shoulder to the tape, clear your calendar for Zurich, because round 2 decides the crown America carries into the World Championships. Call it below. A for gate shot Jefferson-Wooden, B for Surge Richardson, C for drag race, or D if you think the rule book intervenes. Then watch the first 40 meters like a coach. That's where the truth shows up, long before the clock does.